Hi, I'm Remi Ayodele. Welcome to day 18 of our Summer Connection Challenge. Today we're talking about sharing your hobbies with your children, with your teenager, with your young adults. Let me tell you something. Those special interests, those activities that bring you joy, that ignite creativity, that just shows your passion for life and for living. It shapes who you are, actually. And I have a question for us. What hobbies have shaped your life? Have you shared it with anyone yet? Because hobbies are not just for personal fulfillment. They are also powerful tools for connection, for growth, and even for healing. And I'll talk about the healing part at the end of it. So, sharing passion, my parents shared their passion with me. And I'll take you to my book, Practically Connected Parenting, 21 Ways to Create Timeless Memories in the Teenage Years. So, my mom, she loved to sew. Let me tell you what my mom did. My mom introduced me to sewing, teaching me the basics of buttoning and allowing me to watch her as she hand cranked her old vintage sewing machine. Fascinated by the process, I later learned to use it myself. She possessed a special Singer sewing scissors, and I still recall her wise rules. Never use this for paper. It will lose its sharpness for fabric. I don't have a Singer one, but I do have a sewing scissors here. And this particular one, my children used it for paper, so now we don't use it for sewing anymore. I had to get a different one, and I told them not to use it for paper anymore. Let me share something my dad, his passion that he shared with us. My dad had a passion for electronics. He attended do-it-yourself electronics classes and tinkered with circuit boards and even built a transistor radio. Our space was filled with his collection of soldering irons, capacitors, and resistors, sparking my curiosity. Unbeknownst to me at the time, my parents' hobbies were shaping my journey. Watching my dad experiment with electronics planted a seed in my mind, one that would later blossom into my passion for electronics engineering. It wasn't about the gadgets and the experiments, it was about the joy he found in problem solving and innovation. His passion became my inspiration. And over time, I found myself drawn to the field, which is why I have a bachelor's in electronics engineering. And looking back, I realized that hobbies are more than just activities. They are building blocks of identity, teaching discipline, creativity, and sometimes even determining our future path. So this is from page 139 and 140, chapter 18 in Practically Connected Parenting. So sharing this journey with you just is taking me way back, way back. So when I was growing up during summertime, my dad, he got me into tennis. So there was a coach, because there was a local club we had, a sports club. So he connected me with a coach there. And I learned to play tennis. In fact, I bought this tennis racket earrings for my daughter because she plays tennis, and it has like tennis balls too. So the second hole in this ear has closed. Otherwise, I will put it there. But sharing your passion. So I enjoyed tennis as a teenager. So for my children, here, I'm going to just take you memory lane now. This is one of the rackets they started with. Just a small size, small enough for their hands to hold. I'm a fan of Wilson, Boplar too. So it has this container here. Another one is this. So as they kept moving on, this one is Prince, but it's for them to grip. So stages and ages, I would take them to the racket court in our neighborhood here, and we would play. This one is a Prince one. So I mean, there are different brands. And when they were starting on, there's this very soft balls that doesn't bounce too far. We use this ones in the park to learn. So that one was, and then when, of course, when they become even more better, you graduate to these yellow ones and see racket club. So my two daughters, they were playing at a club when we lived in Canada. So our summers and even our weekends were spent a lot for them learning how to play. And this one's my son's. He came and showed me today that, Mom, this is my racket. So he put a green grip on his own, and he put like a tiger for the tension. So summertime, even right here in my city, we have a racket club that they would spend months in through the summertime playing, and by the end of the summer they're all dark from the sun and everything. But they enjoyed playing this a lot. And then of course this one's for my daughter. So this one is also another Wilson racket as she kept growing. And then this one she used when she got to high school. This one too is another Wilson one, and she has a little heart here for her own grip stuff. So this is how you can pass the love for tennis. My daughter went on to play like varsity tennis in her high school. She enjoyed it so much. So this is giving them, and she made friends. That was where she spent her time. That's her fulfillment. That's what brings her joy. And so being able to just connect with your children based on a passion, because we're about connection. We have a 7-year window between age 12 and 19 where they're discovering themselves. Adolescence keeps in, the mood swings, the peer pressure, the questioning, who am I, where do I belong? All those things are going on. When you're playing tennis, you can be laughing and talking about everything in the world. So you can do that. So that's not the only thing though. So because I told you my mom taught me to sew, I also loved sewing. In fact, when I finished my engineering degree, I was waiting for like youth service. I went to a fashion school and just wanted to just develop that interest. So when my children were in like musicals, I would make their outfits for them for their role, for their musical. So for me, it was a connection. And so my older daughter, she can use the machine very well, but my younger daughter, she joined a fashion club in her school. So this is my small sewing machine. It's made by Brothers brand, and it can do like zigzag on the ends of the fabrics. So I'm teaching her my younger daughter how to use this. The other day she bought a pant in the store, and she said, Mom, I don't like the hem. She ripped off the hem. What else didn't she like about it? And she wanted to hem it a different. We had elastic at the end, and so she ripped it off. See, can you see creativity right there? She ripped it off, and then I showed her how to use zigzag to finish the edges, and then taught her how to fold it, and the presser on the foot of the needle had a way to measure the inches of how much you want to fold it in. And I was showing her this is what connection is all about. And for her, like when she was in the fashion club in high school, she needed to make an outfit, so we went to the fabric store. So that's memory of just finding the right fabric, texture, thread to match and everything. I mean, it just brought her life. Like, wow, I wish I had continued with this passion full blown. You never know. Maybe I'll be a fashion designer. No, that's not it. But my point is being able to just connect with our children, with what we enjoy. That is very important. Let me go to my notes here. So when we're playing, we're engaging on the field, but we enjoy watching Serena Williams and Venus Williams, the Williams sisters. And we just reminisce. I will just reminisce because when I was growing up, I trained with the videos from Steffi Graf. I'm dating myself now. But Steffi Graf, Andrea Agassi, they were my fans way back then. And I would watch her for hours and just relish to play. But there wasn't much playing opportunity for me. But passing it on to my children is a big thing, and it gives me a sense of joy, actually. So, and then you know what, the other day when Coco Golf won, oh my gosh, we were so ecstatic, and we're like, I wish I was there to help her carry I wish I was there to help her carry her trophy and things like that. But that is just the joy of sharing hobbies with your children, because you just never know the connection it brings for you. So let me see, what else do I want to share with you here? So this is like, it's not about the fashion. When going back to the sewing, it's about the bonding, the storytelling, and building a bridge between, in fact, 3 generations now, because my mom taught me to sew. So that's 1 generation to me, my generation to my children. That's the 3rd generation. So you just never know how these hobbies are transferring, and it gives you stories to connect with each other. And let me share something. Sometimes it's not something you even have done before. Sometimes it's something you've never done. And this one is gonna, like, let me show you. So my son plays karate, was in karate. So he went on to get his junior black belt, but he stopped because he loved basketball more and he didn't have enough time. Basketball became more intense, and so he had to stop after he got his junior black belt. But one summer, his karate studio said, "Moms, you can also learn karate with your children." Oh my gosh, let me show you what happened. So it's something I've never done, but look, they gave me a uniform. So I joined karate class. So I would wear my uniform, and then the only thing is that I didn't go beyond white belt. But I just was enjoying the thing, right? See, let me see. Oh, they taught us how to tie this belt. Let me see. You wrap it around, and then you bring it here, and then you tie it so that it doesn't unleash when you play, when you not play, when you're sparring. So you go higher, 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 higher. So whenever my son, when I want to connect with him, I just go higher. So, it's something I've never done, but it was too much for me to combine with everything that I was doing. But the season I learned it, I connect with the language of karate, and I could just, so that's just one way of doing something new you've never done before, just because your children are doing it. So let me go back to my note, because I don't want to forget anything. The other thing here is, so let's break it down. What are the life lessons we are passing on when we when we share hobbies with our children? 1, self-expression. They discover who they are and what lights them up. You can see I've shared my daughters, my son. They discover who they are, what lights them up. Number 2, creative problem solving. Whether it's fixing a tennis serve, stitching fabric, they learn to experiment and try again. I know when my son was preparing for his junior black belts, he had a whole curriculum. And then some of it, I videotaped it again for memories. Remember I said, always take pictures. So he would have to practice all these moves for his testing. And so I just enjoyed videotaping and watching him practice over and over, because he had a whole checklist he must do consistently to get his junior black belt. So just watching him and helping him practice was something I enjoyed doing as well. So it also builds confidence. Mastering a hobby brings pride, joy, and motivation, so that you want them to not be so tied to their screen, right? Technology, iPhone and PlayStation and all those things. Find a hobby for them. That way they can master it, and it will bring them joy. And it's not just watching others on the screen that they'll be laughing and having fun with, but they can also do something that brings them joy personally. And then number 4 is connection. Most importantly, hobbies remind us that we're not just parents, we're partners in life adventures. So when we talk about all these things that for me I've shared with my children, I can tell them the story of how my parents shared some things with me as well, and how it's been passed down. So you can see that, number 1, we're teaching them. Let me just summarize what we teach when we share hobbies. Self-expression, creative problem solving, number 2, confidence, number 3, connection, number 4. If somebody's trying to note it, number 1, self-expression, creative problem solving, confidence, and connection. Where will you pay to go and teach all this to your children? It doesn't happen in the classroom. It happens by connecting with them on a daily and a practical basis. And so, what hobbies will you share with your teenager now? Don't worry if you don't share the same interest. Like I didn't share karate interest. I learned it just to connect with my son. So enter into their space. Like I shared the other day, John Maxwell talked about connection is the ability to identify with people. And that is what will increase your influence. As parents, we want to influence our children positively. So identifying in their own space. Like this morning, I was in my daughter's room and she was showing me the headphones she got for her birthday. Her uncle gave her a headphone for her birthday. And so she said, oh, she's going to give it to her brother. And so that is, I told her to give it to me. So no, she's going to give it to her brother because putting on headphones, yeah, you can sing together. In fact, there was one Christmas, I bought a karaoke machine and we would just sing and sing and sing. And talking about singing, my mom also promoted our love for singing. And I was in the choir for the longest time singing. And my younger daughter, she takes voice lessons because she also wants to be in the choir. You can see how there's just too many things you can connect with your children when you share hobbies with them. So, what's the challenge I have for parents of teenagers or parents of any age, from age, whatever age they are? Just find a way to connect. Spend time and share a hobby with your children. Whether it's just when they're little, just coloring and drawing. I know the other day I shared with you how my son likes to draw, and for his birthday one year he wanted all of us to draw. And so we just sat at the table and we're drawing. And I have a picture to show for that. Remember, take pictures for memories. Cooking, I also share with you on cooking day that we should share cooking with your children. Well, the gaming part, I don't know how to use those remotes, so that one I haven't shared. So maybe that's the next one. Gardening, that's not my skill either. My sister, she loves gardening. And thrifting, yes, thrifting. I do that sometimes. So my daughters sometimes will go thrifting. And what did I find in one thrift store? You know, when we go to thrift store, you know what I always find? Books. That's what I find the most. I always find books. So I bring books back home. But connect with your teen. It doesn't require something big, something elaborate. What it does is just enjoying time together. And you know, the hobbies will bridge your generational gap. It will build memories that will last a lifetime. Talking about bridging generational gap, actually that's a big chapter in my second book. Sorry, let's finish my first book. But my second book has that bridging that generation gap. There's no rocket science to that. That gap will always exist. But those 21 activities that we've been walking through, and we're number 18 now, they are your window of opportunity to bridge that gap. That's what you're doing unknowingly. So all these topics I've shared with you now and my children, we can tell stories around it. And that's connection. That is connection. And you know, it's not just, sometimes hobbies is not just for you, for your connection, for your family. Sometimes it's for a worthy cause. Because one of the other things is my daughter won this, she has this pink ball. I think she won it one of her tournaments. It says Wilson Hope. This is supporting cancer awareness. So one of the times I bought a bag, Wilson Hope. This was also promoting cancer awareness. So sometimes your hobbies can support a worthy cause and promote things. So buying this promotes, contributes to the research for the cure for cancer. And having this pink ball, which is different from the regular yellow, is different from the regular yellow balls. Having this pink ball gives us, you know, a sense of empathy for somebody else. And I remember when I was in college, talking about studying electrical engineering based on my dad's hobby. I remember my senior year project. My professor wanted me to research something, but you know, it wasn't just connecting with me. That's like we have to teach our children to to study things that they can bless humanity. So for me, I told my professor, it was my dean of engineering, I said, can I change my topic? A friend of mine, I was in my friend's room and I was reading a book. It was about deaf mothers. So inside my mind, I started to think, how do deaf mothers care for their children? I mean, they have to do other things. If their children are sleeping, how can they truly know to go and help them? So an idea just came in my mind. I said, well, voice alarm system for deaf mothers became my senior year project. So it had 3 parts to it. So it had the transmitter, it had the receiver, and then it had a hearing aid. Because some level of deaf hearing, there's a decibel of measurement that they can hear in sound. And so I created varying range of sound in the hearing aid part of my project, and then the transmitter that would it's kind of like what turned into baby monitors today pretty much was what I did. I wish somebody had told me I could patent that and turn into a commercial product, but nobody said, and nobody did. In fact, I was reading my project the other day, and I wrote there, this can be refined for commercial purposes. So, I had the idea, but from idea to implementation, I needed someone to bridge that gap for me. Otherwise, I would have started that business way back in the early 90s. But anyway, that's a side story. But my point is the creativity, the innovation, the career path. You can see how hobbies can just become a purpose for our youth, for our teenagers, And when I was in high school too, we did woodwork. And so they taught us how to make furniture. I have a friend now, her major was civil engineering, but today herself and her husband have a furniture making company. So you can see how hobbies are just so endless in the way it can just take our children to be creators, to be innovators. So my challenge to you as a parent, what's your hobby? Share it with your children. Enter into their world and share their own hobby as well. And there's one hobby I want to learn. That one is swimming. Swimming. Because when we got here, I made sure my children knew how to swim. My 2 daughters, they went all the way to lifeguard level. That's the only level they did not complete. Because that's a life skill. And many summers, my son, he hasn't gotten to that lifeguard level yet, but now I feel comfortable sending him for a swim party. Maybe we need Michael Phelps for that, for that one. That's one I didn't pass down. I got somebody else to teach them. So, as we wrap up today, thank you for joining me again for day 18. But there's just too many stories. I shared more stories of other hobbies my parents shared with me in my book, Practically Connected Parenting, 21 Ways to Create Timeless Memories in the Teenage Years. By yours truly, Remi Ayodele. So if you haven't gotten your copy, Amazon.com, Amazon.ca if you live in Canada, Amazon.co.uk if you live in the UK, Amazon. Whatever country you live in. So thank you for joining me. My teaser for tomorrow. What are we talking about tomorrow? Let me move to that page right now and share with you. I enjoy you coming and just sharing this time with me. Tomorrow we're talking about share about your work. So that's it. And there's a quote that I started that chapter with. It says, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn." Thank you for joining me. Have a most beautiful day. See you tomorrow.